welcome everyone here today on behalf of my colleague, Ranking Member Cantwell, to discuss a pressing issue facing our nation, the state of our country's infrastructure. As we all know, President Trump continues to call for infrastructure revitalization. Just last week in his State of the Union address, he called on Congress to work with the administration to pass an infrastructure bill. Infrastructure impacts nearly every corner of our country and economy. The corn and soybeans grown in the Midwest that are shipped through the port of Seattle, the $323 billion in goods shipped each year to and from Colorado, primarily by truck, the manufactured products moving through the port of Anchorage, the 150 million tons of freight traveling by rail through West Virginia each year, and the billions of dollars of machinery shipped to and from Mississippi each year. Unfortunately, what was once the envy of the world, our infrastructure system has fallen behind on what is required to maintain America's competitiveness in a global market. The American Society of Civil Engineers report card gives our infrastructure a grade of D+. Our ports are congested. Millions continue to be without access to high-speed internet. Americans spend 8 billion hours stuck in traffic each year. As an example, Los Angeles drivers spend 102 hours a year in traffic during peak times, while London drivers spend only 74 hours per year. In Mississippi alone, there are thousands of structurally deficient bridges. These statistics mean fewer jobs, less time with family, lower economic growth, or worse. Fortunately, improving our infrastructure is an area where bipartisan agreement and cooperation can be found. This committee already has built upon and will continue to build on this history of bipartisanship as it relates to transportation and infrastructure legislation. Just last week, we kicked off the 116th Congress with a hearing on 5G technology and the societal benefits of maintaining American leadership in innovation. 5G has the ability to usher in a new era of connectivity through facilitation of cutting-edge medical services, or autonomous and connected transportation technologies that allow vehicles to talk to each other or to communicate with roads, bridges, or traffic signals in order to reduce accidents and increase mobility. Last fall, the committee led Congress in passage of the Federal Aviation Administration's Reauthorization Act, which authorized the Federal Aviation Transportation Programs for 5 years, promoting airport infrastructure, safety, and American leadership in aviation. Additionally, led by our friends over at the Committee on Environment and Public Works, where I serve with many members of this committee, the 115th Congress authorized our water resources infrastructure programs by passing the America's Water Infrastructure Act. While less recent, the committee played a prominent role in fixing America's surface transportation in 2015. The FAST Act, a 5-year bill to improve our nation's infrastructure, provided long-term funding certainty for transportation infrastructure investment. It also improved surface transportation safety, enhanced economic growth, increased freight connectivity, and streamlined project delivery. This important legislation expires in 2020. Working with our colleagues on the other relevant committees, the Commerce Committee will continue to work on the future of our infrastructure system. Our committee has broad jurisdiction over issues affecting ports, rail, trucking, aviation, and telecommunications. More specifically, with respect to transportation, the Commerce Committee has jurisdiction over the Department of Transportation's Office of the Secretary, which includes grant programs like BUILD, which has never been authorized, and important programs under the Build America Bureau. Additionally, this committee oversees various Highway Trust Fund and General Fund programs under important modal administrations and independent agencies, including the FAA, the Federal Railroad Administration, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, Maritime Administration, Surface Transportation Board, and National Transportation Safety Board. On telecommunication issues, this committee oversees the FCC, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and National Telecommunications and Information Administration of the Department of Commerce. Given its jurisdiction, this committee is in a unique position to examine how technology, including advances in automation, artificial intelligence, and connectivity, can revolutionize transportation and mobility for the 21st century. During today's hearing, I look forward to hearing from our witnesses, Mr. William Friedman, Chairman of the American Association of Port Authorities, and also the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Port Authority, Mr. Ian Jeffries, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Association of American Railroads, Matthew Polka, President and Chief Executive Officer of the American Cable Association, Mr. Chris Spear, President and Chief Executive Officer of the American Trucking Association, and Mr. Larry Willis, President of the Transportation Trades Department, AFL-CIO. Their testimony will address many of the critical issues that this committee will need to discuss. I look forward to a thoughtful discussion of these important topics so we can work to rebuild our nation's infrastructure. I want to